أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت إن شئت تجعل الحزن سهلا. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من أن نشرك بك شيئا نعلمه ونستغفرك لما لا نعلمه. ثم أما بعد. Last time we stopped at the benefits of hunger, and as we mentioned last time, hunger, there are two kinds of hunger. That we make ourselves hungry or not to eat so much, but we do this by choice. And the hunger that people suffer from in like starvation, that is not what Imam Ghazali is talking about. Imam Ghazali is talking about disciplining ourselves, even in the presence of food, that we don't eat too much, because this will open the door for so many other evil things. We'll focus actually on two of these benefits. As he said, من أكبر الفوائد الفائدة الخامسة, the fifth benefit is كسر شهوة المعاصي كلها والاستيلاء على النفس الأمارة بالسوء. The whole concept of self-discipline. Among the benefits of hunger, again, hunger here means that we don't eat until we are full. He said that to break the power of inclination to committing sins, and to be able to control النفس الأمارة. As we mentioned before many times, the ulama talked about النفس الأمارة, النفس اللوامة, النفس المطمئنة. النفس الأمارة بالسوء, as mentioned in Surah Yusuf, إن النفس لأمارة بالسوء. This is the nafs that always encourages us to do wrong things. You know, we were talking about the pig and the dog, and in the heart, the pig and the dog, and the angel and the Satan. You know, the first or second class. The appetite, controlling our appetite. النفس الأمارة بالسوء. To be able to, the religion is really focused so much on this idea. The idea of controlling ourselves, our desires, not to let the desires control us. And when the desire controls us, then we will become worshippers of these desires. In other words, we would do anything to please these desires at any cost. And this is unfortunately what people do. Most of people lost control over their desires, the desire of sexual desire, money, fame, beauty, and so on and so forth. And all the religions actually came with formula that help us control our desires. So, and the 10th, I'm not going to mention 10 of them, for all of similarities. The last one, Imam Ghazali mentioned, is that when we control our food desire, then we will be able to share with others. The concept of sharing. It was narrated that Umar radiallahu anhu saw his son Abdullah ibn Umar coming from the market, and he bought something. And it was meat. He bought meat. He said, "What is this?" I said, "It's meat. My family desired meat. We didn't eat meat for some time, so I just went and bought meat." Then Umar told him, "Do you buy everything you desire? Is this the case? Every time you desire something, you go and buy it? Is this how it works?" أَوَكُلَّمَا اشْتَهَيْتُمْ اشْتَرَيْتُمْ استفهام تعجبي. أَوَكُلَّمَا اشْتَهَيْتُمْ اشْتَرَيْتُمْ. Do you buy everything you desire? What's wrong with you? Right? So, and then he said, أَمَا يَطْوِي أَحَدُكُمْ بَطْنَهُ لِجَارِهِ وَابْنِ عَمِّهِ. Why don't you share the food you have or the money you have with your neighbor and your cousin and your relatives? In other words, if we are to fulfill every desire we have, then we will have no extra money to give sadaqah. right? I know people are wealthy, but they're not paying zakah. Why? Because they make a lot of money, but they spend so much. And zakah, as we know, is to be spent from the money we save for the entire year. So if you save money for a year, this money you have to pay zakah for. But because they make so much money and the kind of lifestyle they live, luxurious lifestyle, and they have to get this and that, so they spend almost everything they make, all money they make. So Umar radiallahu anhu was talking about this idea that if we are to spend everything to fulfill our desires, then we'll have nothing left for our neighbors, for our relatives, and so on and so forth. It was narrated that the Prophet ﷺ looked at a man whose belly is so big, known as a person who eats so much, so fat. And then he looked at him and he said, if this was somewhere else, it would have been better for you. In other words, if all this food and money you invested in building this big belly, it was somewhere else, it would have been better for you. You don't have to eat until you get that much. It was narrated also that Churchill, the Prime Minister of England, he met Bernard Shaw. You know Bernard Shaw, very famous philosopher and author. And he was very thin. And Churchill, the Prime Minister, was known as like a fat person. So he wanted to make fun of Bernard Shaw and said, if anybody saw you who think that we have food crisis in England. And Bernard Shaw told him that if anybody saw you, he will know the reason why we have food crisis in England. So really, when we eat too much, then we'll forget about others and we'll have nothing to share with them. Then he prescribed something that I'm not going to go over the details because I think some of them is not realistic. He talked about how much money, how much food you should eat, and he went actually so far. I think Imam Ghazali went so far. That's why I think it's as we mentioned before, moderation is the best. How many times to eat? And he mentioned a bunch of sayings of ulama that if you eat 3 times a day, that's extravagation. And if you eat 1 time every 2 days, that's starvation. So eating 1 time a day, and so these are some opinions of the very high level of spiritual people who really want to purify their soul and to control the desire so that they can receive the light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I'm not going to go into this detail, and everybody knows himself. Then he moved on to talk about the sexual desire, and he said this desire has been created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for 2 reasons. One is to use it as an analogy of the pleasure of Al-Jannah, right? Of course, in Jannah, people will have different bodies. The spirit will be in a different body. That this body is good for this dunya, for this time and place. But in Jannah, there will be a different body, and people will have, much better enjoyment there. So this is one reason. The second reason, he said, Imam Ghazali, is to keep the human race, of course. But interestingly, he mentioned something when he talked about sexual desire and food. He said, in fact, when we eat and enjoying these desires, it is in fact, in essence, according to him, we are not doing them to enjoy them, rather to remove pain. It's not mainly to bring pleasure, but to remove, because if you don't eat, you'll be hungry, and it's very painful, right? That's why when people are very hungry, they don't pick and choose. Any food available, they go and eat it. And they used to say that the best or the most delicious food is the food that you eat when you're hungry, right? It doesn't matter, even the food you don't like, but you're really, really starving, and you see any kind of food, You will not hesitate. Go and eat it, right? And you can feel it's delicious and good. So we are eating to remove the pain of hunger. And similarly for sexual desire, when it's not fulfilled, then it also causes pain. But we know also that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could have created people every day without necessarily having a husband and wife involved, right? But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to reproduce in such a way for us to feel the sakina and rahmah and enjoyment, and to have children and to take care of them and so on. Build this love and mercy and family. But he also warned that usually there are extremes when it comes to these desires. Right? Al-ifrat wa tafriq, as he always mentioned. He mentioned a number of warnings or reference in Al-Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. Some of them actually refer to the ayah that we recite all the time. رَبَّنَا وَلَا تُحَمِّلْنَا مَا لَا طَاقَةَ لَنَا بِهِ. And this, one of the meanings of لَا تُحَمِّلْنَا مَا لَا طَاقَةَ لَنَا بِهِ is an excessive, powerful sexual desire. Right? This is one of the tafsir, مَا لَا طَاقَةَ لَنَا بِهِ. Of course, the meaning is general, but that is a specific tafsir. Some ulama said, شِدَّةَ الْغَلَمَ, or the severity of the sexual desire. That can really lead to sins. Also, من شر غاسق إذا وقب, according to Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, also غاسق إذا وقب refers to the erection, or this is like when desire is there, that's evil. That, can lead to so many wrong things. The hadith, اللهم إني أعوذ بك من شر سمعي وبصري وقلبي وهمي ومني. And I seek refuge in you from the evil of my hearing, of my seeing, of my heart, and also my sexual desires. Because when it goes uncontrolled, it can lead to disasters. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, زُيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ حُبُّ الشَّهَوَاتِ. It's been beautified for people, the love of the desires of nisa. The first thing mentioned, nisa, right? Women. والبنين, children. قناطير المقنطرة, big amounts of ذهب والفضة, gold and silver. والخيل المسومة, horses. والأنعام, cattle. والحرث, and lands and farms. ذلك متاع الحياة الدنيا والله عنده حسن المآب. This is the pleasure of this dunya, and with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the best return in al-akhirah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made us love these things. And the problem is not having desire, the problem is failing to control these desires. Right? So, he mentioned here a story of Iblis came to Musa alayhi salam and he talked to him, and he told Musa alayhi salam, be aware of three things. Islam actually tried to control this powerful desire. We need the desire, we need to fulfill it in a halal way, to reproduce, to have families and communities and ummah, right? So how to protect this? Number of things. One, to lower your gaze. And this is for both men and women. Lowering the gaze, because this is what leads to what's after, what comes after. The nadra, to look at the opposite gender with this desire. Right? Keep looking and looking and looking. This will plant the seed in the heart. And then this seed will continue to grow. It becomes an idea. Right? And we'll think about so many things. Shaitan plays in this area very well. Right? And then it may become an action. So, interestingly, Al-Quran talked in this point about men and women. Usually Al-Quran says, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu, do this or don't do that. But here, قُلْ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ يَغُضُّوا مِنْ أَبْصَارِهِمْ, tell the believing men lower their gaze. And the next ayah said, until the believing women lower their gaze. It's not only men, it's men and women. And that's why the concept of modesty in Islam is not a woman issue. It's not a woman issue. It is men and women. Both men and women must act with moderation and respect and shyness. Another important thing that Islam made haram or prohibited is that for a man and woman to meet in private. This story of Iblis when he met with Musa alayhi salam, and he said, وَأُحَذِّرُكَ ثَلَثًا لَا تَخْلُ بِامْرَأَةٍ لَا تَحِلُّ لَكَ. Never ever be alone with a woman out of your family, of course. Because when this happens, I will be their third. I will be their third, and I will always bring them together to commit haram. In addition to this, talking about what's happening now, all these sexual assaults and reports, we have to be super careful, even in the workplace. Never be with opposite gender behind closed doors. Even if it was quote-unquote innocent, it's a work-related meeting and things like that, keep the door open all the time. You never know. Because once the door is closed, then any allegation can be made, right? And no witnesses, and usually people believe the one who made the allegation. All right? Always keep the door open or ask someone else to be in, and avoid at all times being alone with others. Even if you think, oh, I'm strong, oh, she's my co-worker, and she's like a friend, I never think about this and that. That's all also of the whisper of the shaitan. Okay? Don't put yourself in such big trial. You may succeed, but you may not. Oh, why going there? Right? Of course, there are some situations, and I was planning to talk about this in khutbahs, but it's good to remember, the story of Aisha radiallahu anha. Hadith Ifk, I guess you know it. The army coming back to Medina, and then they were halting, and then Aisha radiallahu anha left, and for the bathroom thing, and then she came back, and everybody was left. They thought she's inside this howdah, and they carried it, and they left, and she is alone in the desert, which is very dangerous. There are a lot of thieves, animals, bad people, and one of the Sahaba was late because he needed to sleep longer, was tired, and then he came and he found her. Now, the question is, should he pick her up and then catch up with the army, or leave her alone? He did not hesitate. Of course, he kneeled the camel, and she read the camel, and then he took her all the way, and then they came to the army, who was halting in another station, and the Munafiqeen was there. So now this Sahabi, Safwan ibn Mu'attal, bringing Aisha, they were all alone in the desert. And they kept they were together and they did something wrong. And they kept talking and talking, and this is something we have actually to learn. Quran tells us once you hear something about someone, say, you know what, I have no evidence, I'm not interested in this. I'm not going to talk about it. Right? Could be innocent, non-innocent, that's not my business. But many among the Sahaba, radiallahu anhu, they kept talking about this. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the Quran. But the point here is that we should not put ourselves in a position of suspicion, unless it's something that you cannot avoid, like this situation. Also, Islam says that youth should get married as early as they can, because this is the fulfillment of this desire in a clean and pure way, right? Make this nikah easy. Don't make it difficult. Don't ask for so much mahr and furniture and this and that. Because when we make nikah halal difficult, then the haram will be easy. And especially here in America, honestly, we have to get rid of so many cultural things that makes zawaj difficult. Makes nikah difficult. So halal should be very easy and available and affordable. Because haram is available and affordable. So we don't want to do the opposite. We don't want to make the halal difficult and haram easy. Right? And I don't know if what Imam Ghazali would have said if he was alive in our time. And at that time, his time, this is the 5th century. He died in the beginning of the 6th century, Hijri. That was 500 years after the Prophet ﷺ. And at that time, female slaves were available. So a man would have a wife or 2 wives, and 2, 3, 4, 5 female slaves with which he can sleep. Obviously, it's halal at that time. So now, and at that time, people were, I guess, were more moderate. Women would not dress like it is now. And it's extremely difficult. So back then, it was easier to control yourself because one has multiple wives, or at least one wife, and also have all these girls. Jawari or milk yamin. And women they dress properly and so on. So the society was helpful. You want halal, nikah, it's available. Okay? But now the opposite is true. Haram is everywhere. Everywhere. We have to admit that's extremely difficult. So that's why we need to help our youth that once they are ready, then they should get married as early as possible. Now the marriage age here in America has become, getting older and older. The marriage age has become very around 30s, late 30s even. Why? Because one wants to build himself, and then the economical system, and graduate with big loan, and you want to work to establish yourself, pay off the loan, and then think about marriage. That's not what Islam says. One should start simple, right, and grow. They should grow together and help each other growing. But if you wait to the age of 35 to get married, then how would you, deal with all these temptations around? Then Imam al-Ghazali talked about the nikah, and he said, Imam al-Ghazali radiallahu anhu, said that one of the objectives of nikah obviously is to fulfill this desire in halal and to stay away from al-haram. As he said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, يا معشر الشباب من استطاع منكم الباءة فليتزوج فإنه أغض للبصر وأحسن للفرج. That will help you lower your gaze and protect your chastity. ومن لم يستطع, if someone wants to get married but he cannot afford marriage, what should he or she do? Then the Prophet said, be patient, fast. Why fasting? This is what Moses is talking about. Because if you break this desire, automatically the other one will be broken. But break here, the word break is so big, but break here means to control, not to get rid of it all the time. Some of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum asked the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Ya Rasulullah, can we castrate? Castration is to just make like a small surgery, take the testicle out, then you lose. So marriage is not free. Uthman ibn Mad'un and Ali ibn Abi Talib and others, they said, Ya Rasulullah, we want to get your permission to do that. He said, no, don't do that. Don't do that. You know, in Christianity, monasticism was practiced. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ما كتبناها عليهم. ما كتبناها. Allah did not ask them to do this rahbaniyah. But they did it for the sake of controlling and not to get involved in this materialistic world. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Nikah min sunnati, ragib an sunnati, falaysa minni." And he did not allow Sahaba radiallahu anhum to do that. It's haram to do that. Get married and have a family, and taking care of the family is part of your ibadah. Isa alayhi salam said, إِيَّاكُمْ وَالنَّظْرَةِ فَإِنَّهَا تَزْرَعُ فِي الْقَلْبِ شَهْوَةً وَكَفَى بِهَا فِتْنَةً. Isa alayhi salam said, stay away from the nadra, looking, because it plants the seed of the desire, or the evil desire, and that's a big fitna. In the hadith, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Al-nadratu sahmun masmum min siham iblis." Beautiful hadith. Al-nadratu sahmun masmum. Sahm. You know the sahm, the arrow? And what's masmum?
It's poisonous.
Poison. You know, Arabs, when they fight, they put poison on the head of the arrow, so when you get the arrow, it's not that, because arrow can you know, the injury can be small, but once touch your body, then the poison goes to the body. So the Prophet said that this nadra, it's a poisoned arrow. It comes to your heart. So you know, you don't underestimate this powerful nadra that comes to your heart. Sahmun masmum min siham iblis. So Iblis, alayhi la'natullah, as if Iblis is shooting an arrow that has poison into your heart. Then he said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "Man tarakaha khawfan min Allah." Whoever leaves it out of fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, أعطاه الله إيمانا يجد حلاوته في قلبه. Allah will replace it with iman, that he will feel its sweetness in his heart. Wallahi, try it. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. وَمَا يَنْطِقُ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ. Try it. Every time you see something attractive and you just, you know, say, I'll do this for Allah. I will. It's like when you give sadaqah. You give sadaqah, you give this money that you like for Allah, right? Same thing, say, I'm not going to look out of fear of Allah. Just do it for even just one day. Every time you see something, just turn it. Allah will replace the sweetness of this nadra with the sweetness of iman that one can feel in his heart. It has been tried and it works. It may be difficult, but we have to practice this. We have to do that. Because we don't want anybody to look at us or any of our wives or daughters. We should think the same. And in the hadith also, he said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, hadith in Bukhari and Muslim, اتفق عليه, he said, اتقوا ما تركت بعدي فتنة أضر على الرجال من النساء. I did not leave behind me any fitna. It's not more harmful to men than women. This is not to say women are fitna or are evil. No, it is, you know, there are mothers and sisters and wives, and that's not criticism to women, but the Prophet is talking about the sexual desire, right? ما تركت فتنة أضر على الرجال بعدي فتنة أضر على الرجال من النساء. It's fitna, it's strong, and we have to stay far away from it. And he told us, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, about the very famous story of this rahib, monk or a worshipper among the Bani Israel. I'm sure you have heard this hadith before. At 2 or 3 brothers, they have a sister, and they went for jihad, fighting. And they said, so who's going to take care of our sister? And he said, the only one that we can trust is this worshipper. So they came to him, and can he just from time to time see her need and take care of her and so on? Okay, fine. First day he knocked the door and brought some food and water and things. Fine. Next day he knocked the door and he saw her again, and then he liked her. The third time he went in. And the fourth time, everything happened. And she became pregnant. And it was a big scandal, right? And what should he do then? Shaitan came to him and told him, and of course Shaitan came to him all the time. Just go and see her, and just go sit and talk to her. Maybe she's alone, maybe she needs someone to talk to. Just why don't you go and talk to her? And he goes in and talks to her, and this and that. And that time after, everything happened. And then when she became pregnant, Shaitan came to him and said, you know what, the only way to get out of this big mess is to kill her. And when the brothers come, tell them that she got very sick and she died. And next time he went to her, he killed her. And the baby, of course. And he went to bury her. And he buried her. Brothers came. What happened? She became very sick, and all of a sudden she passed away, and I buried her, and this is the place. And they went to, and they believed him. The same Shaitan came to every one of them in their dreams, telling him, you know what? This is what happened. Okay? And if you don't, and if you go to their grave and see the body, you'll find out that she's pregnant. And the brothers in the morning didn't know what to do. Everyone, they were talking and said, I've seen some dream, but it's a horrible dream. I also saw one. And they kept to us and said, me too, I've seen the same dream. Then they said, well, let's go and check out, let's go to the grave. And they opened the grave and they found out that she was pregnant. And they came back to the man, to the worshipper, and he ran away. And they came after him. And he was trapped. And khalas, they are coming to kill him. And it not just kill him, but it was a big scandal. Here Shaitan appeared to him. And he told him, listen, here they are coming to kill you. I am your only hope. What should I do? He said. He said, if you want me to help you, I know exactly how to help you, but you need to make sujood to me first. If you make sujood to me, I will, make you escape. He made sujood to him. And then the brothers came, finished him off. Now, this is the story. It started with a good intention, and he said that the road to Jahannam is paved with good intentions. Things sometimes start innocently, good intentions, and he has good intention, take care of this girl. And things have one thing, zina, and then killing, and then kufr, billah, sujood to shaitan. And then he died in this state of kufr. So one thing leads to another. It's much better to resist the first step, right? And the more steps you take, the difficult it is to go back. Imam Ghazali gave this example. He said, if think about it, if a cow entered your house, all right, it's much easier to try to enter your house, and you just wave to her or take her and push her away, or it's easy. It's not difficult. But if a cow entered into the house and you try to pull her from its tail out, it will be very difficult, right? And this is exactly what he said. When you get used to these things and take one step after another, it will be very difficult to go back. But if you resist this temptation in the beginning, it will be much easier for you. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu, la tattabi'u khutuwat ash-shaytan. Khutuwat is the plural of khutwa. Khutwa means step. Don't follow the steps of the shaitan. Shaitan is, he knows us. He knows our weakness. And he built how many years of experience? Right? And he knows our weakness and what we like. And he knows how to deceive us. So we have to be smarter. He will not tell you, go and do this right away, because that's bad, haram, it's big, kaba'ir, things like that. No, Shaitan is smart. So he says, why don't go for lunch? I'll go for coffee. I'll go for this birthday party, man. Everybody's going. and one thing would lead to the other. We have to be super careful. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect all of us. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide us to the straight path. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us among those who listen and follow the truth. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala أن يجعلنا من الذين يستمعون القول فيتبعون أحسنه أولئك الذين هداهم الله وأولئك هم أولو الألباب. We stop here inshallah if you have any comment or question.
The story if you said about Ghazali Ihya, I read in the Seerah that Rasulullah gave punishment to 3 Sahabas.
Punishment? Yes.
Like Hamna bint Jahaj, Hassan bin Sabit, and there was a third one. But no munafiqeen were punished. So was there any reason?
Well, some of the Sahaba have been punished, but those who were convicted, they admitted that. And but the Sahaba always denied. The Munafiqeen denied. I didn't say anything. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. This is one of the characters of the Munafiqeen. So, Allah. Any comment or question?
This is the I heard first time, the one you mentioned in the last. I heard it first time.
Yes, it's there in almost a lot of books of hadith and tafsir. I can give you exact reference, inshallah. This is actually, if you read tafsir, this ayah, كَمَثَلِ الشَّيْطَانِ إِذْ قَالَ الْإِنسَانُ يَكْفُرْ. The end of Surah Al-Hashr. Right? كَمَثَلِ الشَّيْطَانِ إِذْ قَالَ الْإِنسَانُ يَكْفُرْ فَلَمَّا كَفَرَ قَالَ إِنِّي بَرِيءٌ مِّنْكَ إِنِّي أَخَافُ اللَّهَ رَبَّ الْعَالَمِينَ. This ayah, you'll find in the books of tafsir of this ayah.
But that ayah was not revealed when during Banu.
No, that's different. No, that's different. The other one, Surah Badr, when فلما تراءى الجمعان أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وإذ زين لهم الشيطان أعمالهم وقال لا غالب لكم اليوم من الناس وإني جار لكم فلما تراءت الفئتان نكص على عقبيه قال إني بريء منكم إني أخاف الله والله شديد العقاب. This is the day of Badr.
But I also read that when Banu Kanuka were being punished out of Medina, then Shaitan came to Banu Kanuka and Banu Nuzair, and he told them that Munafiqeen told them we will be supporting you, so you do not worry, we will fight with you against Muhammad. And then they did not fight. That's why Allah said they will never support you, they will not fight you. They are just.
This is Bani Nadir, not Bani Qurayza. Surah Al-Hashr also. Right? Surah Al-Hashr, actually another name of Surah Al-Hashr is Surah Bani Nadir. Some of the Sahaba called it Surah Bani Nadir. الله أعلم. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.